watch this one. Should watch this one on Monday. But does porn have a negative effect on society? No fap versus porn stars. It's a 55-minute long one, my boys. All right. You know, I'm not even hungry. I'm not even hungry. I'm not even a snack. I'm good. I got my water right here. I've been eating good today, so I'm chilling. I'm not even hungry right now, for real. I was gonna eat this, but I'm bored, for real, probably. But I'm about to watch this. Let's just jump into it right now.
So if I don't watch porn once a month, I'm going to be happier.
Probably.
I totally disagree.
Your brain will start working.
But already, if you're thinking like that, bro, there's something wrong with you. I ain't no cap. Like, you can't, like, go without, like, at all. Like, that's just weird, bro. Like, I ain't know, like, you can't go without at all. Like, it's cool not, you don't want to turn it off, alright, but, like, you can't go without it. It's weird. Like, that shit is initially weird.
In a more optimal mode, and you'll be like, I didn't even know I could be this.
What's more optimal now than somebody who has 2 degrees successful for themselves can pay off everything that they want?
Welcome to Middle Ground. I'm Ryan, your host. To the left, we have Team NoFap, and to the right, porn stars. This should be interesting. Porn has a net negative effect on society. Agreeers, please step forward.
Okay, it's really interesting. So I was thinking about it, and it seems like for some of them, I don't want to, put words in their mouth, but it sounds like they're after it for just like a chunk of the change, right? And so like, what does that mean, like on the healthy side of like the other end, like the consumer, right? And I don't think it will, serve people as a whole in a positivity light, rather than they're just serving themselves. Like, I don't know if that, makes sense, but I guess like my basis is like, it doesn't help serve the world in a positive way. It just serves themselves in a positive way.
Well, are you saying that porn performers do the world a disservice?
I would say so.
Got it.
I'd say it's like overall, like if it was a ratio of positive to negative, I would say it's 10% positive. I feel like the rest of it is like the 90% is negative.
I was going to say, yeah, I would agree with what he's saying about it being a net negative on society. We have higher rates of depression and anxiety in younger men, a lot of which can be associated to compulsive sexual behavior. A lot of these men lose meaning in their lives. We create a culture starting in the 19th.
Hey, y'all be beating the meaning out of yourselves, bro. Beating the meaning right out of y'all, bro. Y'all need to stick with y'all purpose, bro. Leave that meat alone, bro.
60s, where sex is a transactional thing, where there's no biological imperative to have sex with somebody who you are connected to in a relationship or in a spiritual sense. So sex becomes a transaction between 2 people. And I think just in basic economic terms, if there's more sex available, then sex is less valuable. So.
Got it.
I am a cognitive neuroscientist, and I have written a best-selling book called Mind Over Explicit Matter on porn addiction recovery. I call it the silent tsunami, because basically that brain dysregulation that happens in a person's brain, which is below the surface, that's how a tsunami starts. There's a crack in the ocean floor. Nobody knows it's happening. But then it creates mental and physical health issues, which there's a significant rise in anxiety and depression. There's also what I call porn-induced ADHD, because scientific studies have shown that not only is the structure of the brain impacted, but function also. So people can't focus, their productivity decreases. Physically, it leads to erectile dysfunction, which is destroying people's relationships.
Can you say a little bit more about physical change to the brain?
Yeah, so there's a study that shows that there is basically the reward centers are smaller, where you would think they'd be larger, but it's because of that desensitization in the reward center, and then that's in the midbrain. The reward pathways feed forward to the frontal lobe. Those pathways are impacted too, so people can't think.
Shall we bring the disagreeers?
Let's do it.
Please join us.
I mean, I feel like it's not our fault that y'all can't push the computer away. Like, we providing the service and doing a job. We're not forcing anyone to watch porn. That's a decision that you make on your own. We don't force anybody to watch.
Do you think it's a net positive or a net negative?
I mean, I think it's a positive thing.
What's positive about it that you believe brings the service to
because you have the option of being able to watch it or not watch it. You have that option yourself to do that. It makes you feel good. Like, it makes you release. It makes you feel all kinds of things, arousement in sexuality. It helps you be more confident about your body. For me, porn has been very positive to me, especially being a plus-size boy in the gay porn industry. You know, I deal with people always coming at me in the industry because of my size. And in gay porn, you know, it's not really acceptable to be a plus-size boy. So for me, porn has helped me be more confident in my body and stuff like that. And I know people who watch my porn, who are like me, come to me all the time and say, watching your porn has made me more confident.
It taught me sexual experiences. I had, you know, going into 5th grade, you know, they taught you sex. A boy and a girl has sex, but I didn't know what that looked like, you know. So sure, it could be bad. It could teach you crazy things or whatever, you know.
Hold on, bro. I just want to know which one of y'all niggas are looking up. Well, let me get the fuck out of the way, bro. Who looking up Dan Dangler, bro? I want to know your name in the comment section or somewhere. Cause who looking up Dan motherfucking Dangler, bro? Who looking that one up, bro? That is not what I expected her name to be. I did not expect her name to be Dan motherfucking Dangler, bro. And of course it's you, bro. You ain't never seen her before. I ain't never seen none of these people before.
It could be bad. It could teach you crazy things or whatever, you know. But
I don't know about her.
For me personally, it taught me a lot of things. Like, I'm not gonna go ask my mom, how do you give a blowjob? Or like my friends at a young age when I have a boyfriend. Like, that's something that like it's honestly a research point in some aspects for some people.
Honestly, I would characterize that as a net negative because that is, you know, science now shows that that's how porn is how most kids are learning about sex, and it's hypersexualized. And we know there's an increase in violence. And so now we have young people, you know, punching, choking, anal sex is up, and we have young people now learning that this is healthy.
Anal sex is violent.
Well, it can be, but you know, the violent piece of porn isn't just anal sex, but it covers kind of this, again, continuum overarching. But now with kids having their phones in their pocket, you know, they don't have the opportunity to learn from healthier ways. I think that is the unique perspective that I've had because I wasn't addicted to porn, yet I was very close to someone that was. So having an outside view plus having the education to understand it, you know, I work with a lot of people. They don't have the awareness until they do. But usually that's because they have significant mental and physical health issues.
I don't believe that like everyone who watches a porn video from their first time watching it is going to now have a problem. I think that there are plenty of people who can make that distinction.
Most people do if they continue to watch porn. So, you know, I call it the seeds of addiction, but of course seeds have to be watered. If you don't water seeds, they don't grow. But for people who develop a habit, and there's scientific studies that show consuming porn one time a month is still leads to compulsive behavior.
So who's not addicted to porn?
People who don't watch it.
That's it. Like you can't.
No, Doc. I'm sorry that cannot be correct. I'm sorry, it can't be. I don't care if you're a doctor, bro. It cannot be correct. You're not addicted because once a month, that's crazy. Calling that addiction, bro. That's nuts. I do want to hear her explanation real quick.
People, you know, so when it comes to brains, it's the same with alcohol. Most people who consume alcohol regularly do have a dependency on it.
But there's no possible have a beer, put it, and then that was...
For some people, but there's tolerance building, escalation over time. And that goes back to your point, Logan, that people don't know until they know. But most people are not aware until basically there's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I personally don't think...
Personally, you can call that just routine. I'm not like... Anything to be turned into a habit. Like you drink or whatever, like you said, alcohol. If you go home after work, grab a beer, just a beer, just one. You're not an alcoholic, you know what I mean? But you're having one beer after work every time. You basically built a routine around it. That's what she's talking about. That's not an addiction, that's a routine. There's a difference there, Doc. Come on. There's a difference. But it's a routine. It's not an addiction. It's a routine. Now, you go home and you have a beer after work. Cool. Next day you go home after work, you have 2 beers after work. All right, it's still cool. The next following day, you go home and you have 3 beers after work. Now, you're starting to build something else here. That might be an addiction, but that's not part of the routine. But you build a routine, you have 1 beer after work, that's a routine, bro. I'm sorry, Doc. Like, I have to disagree.
Most people have an addiction to it. I think that what is being considered an addiction on this side of the spectrum is not considered an addiction on this side. Just
There's
because we watch-
definition to addiction.
Yeah, just because we watch something maybe once a month or whatever doesn't necessarily. To me, I'm more addicted to my phone, to food, to everything else besides that. Like that's the least addictive thing.
Well, there's
in my life.
qualifiers to the definition of addiction, and then I tell people just try to stop watching. You don't even have to like tick the 6 boxes, because most people who consume porn, you know, they might be able to go a little while, but they will have withdrawal symptoms. They'll have an increase in anxiety, anger, irritability, you know, up and down. It's about like there's dopamine in the system, then there's a dopamine deficit. So
So if I don't watch porn once a month, I'm going to be happier.
yeah, probably.
I totally
agree with that.
statement.
That's the thing.
You
You,
know
don't
what,
know until you
people-
see the other side.
People say that.
I don't believe it for the once a month. Like if you're a chronic masturbator or something like that, yeah, it would tremendously change your life. But you once a month, bro, like I don't know. I can't. Like I'm on the kick right now, bro. I promise you I am. And like I don't know. Like I feel like it's a no. I feel like per person, like it all depends on who you are. But I don't feel like it's that big of a deal like that, bro. I really.
To me,
I've
all the
been on
time.
every side of things. I
They
had a
don't
purity
believe it
ring
until
growing
they
up. I've been
experience
on
it. Because your brain will start working in a more optimal mode, and you'll be like, I didn't even know I could
What's
be
more
this
optimal now than somebody who has 2 degrees, successful for themselves, can pay off everything that they want? How is that not an excel?
Well, it's about, you know, back to your focus, and you know, I don't know what you have going
Yeah.
on, but it's about that brain map. If it's green, the way it's about your state, and so your state changes. So when people work with me, they'll say, I didn't even know I could be calmer. I didn't know I could be more focused. I didn't know I could have less anxiety. I don't feel depressed. My sexual arousal for my partner is through the roof in a way that it never was before. So
No, and I see, like, I think but I think it isn't a one-size-fits-all type of thing. I think that there are plenty of people, like, it's going to vary person to person. I think that there are a lot of people, because even if we take away pornography, if we look at something like something like the keto diet, like, there's plenty of people who will be, okay, like, you can find a lot of evidence backing, okay, you'll lose weight on this, you'll sleep better, this, and that. And then there's other people who are like, it didn't work for me, I had headaches, I had this, and both can be true. So is that not the same thing? Why is there no possible way to have a healthy relationship with pornography, with masturbation?
it goes back to the dopamine dependency of the super normal stimulus.
But there's so
porn.
much that gives you dopamine. Like, people get that from work. They get an unhealthy relationship with,
They
as
get,
far as
well,
like
dopamine
getting
from
more
a
There,
hug.
you can be addicted
that.
to work, but
Yeah.
the dopamine from work is significantly lower. It's not a super normal stimulus. It's a normal stimulus. So like in real life, probably the highest normal stimulus is like skydiving. You know, it's like your system is completely jacked up. You're overstimulated. That is probably in real life the highest level stimulus you could get.
But how can we get these people that are really compulsive and have addictions, how can we get these people help?
My answer would obviously be organized religion, specifically Catholicism. Now, that's obviously just me, but I think it's clear.
Like, hey, bro. Personally, I pray, bro, but that was not the first choice. I would have said to stop, bro. Like, I would have just said stop. Like, I personally, like, I'm sorry if you out there, you have an actual addiction or something, bro. Like, they're diagnose you with this shit. But, like, my nigga, if you can't stop, bro, seek help. Like, if you literally can't just put your fucking willy down, bro, like, just go get some fucking help, bro. Like, that's crazy. And, like, personally, if you feel like it's a you problem, then fix it, bro. If like, just what people tell you is a problem, don't mean it has to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll advocate for, at least start doing it less. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not gonna stop and do it less, like, you don't need to make it your life. Like, like the way they describe it, they make it sound like some of you out there are going nuts. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, going crazy. Like, if you're like that, please get help. Please fix it. Like, please. I didn't think it was this severe until so many people were just talking about it. Like, I didn't think it was a big deal. I just stopped doing it. Like, it's really that hard. Like, but okay. Like, you know, let me know. I guess,
that
but
we've
damn.
departed from a
Stop.
unifying ethic that brings everybody together. And then there's people on the fringes that basically just think that, well, pleasure is the best thing possible, or, you know, power is the best thing possible, and we've lost the thing that puts everybody at the center, that brings everybody together.
Are you saying everyone should be religious?
In utopia, sure, yeah.
Okay, so that's your utopia. Mine is not.
Yeah, no.
Well, I would, to build on that,
nightmare
I
for
would
me.
believe that everyone should have like some sort of core values to not serve other humans, but just to bring positivity to the world. And that's why I, stepped forward, because I didn't believe that, being a porn star, and I wanted to be one at one point. Like I actually got that deep in the game, and I was like, wow,
You still can.
I'm all good, man.
They want you to be Catholic. He wants you to be a porn star.
We found the middle ground.
Right.
Something I don't like is when a religious person tries to tell me what I need to do with my life. That's my problem.
I agree. I think people push other people away from the church or just like whatever religion, right? I feel like that's just a relationship that you need to have. But one of the greatest things that you can do is pray or just manifest, right? So that's such a great thing. It's one of God's gifts to us, right? And so can one of you tell me 3 core values you have for being a porn star?
Core values, I want to make money. I want to feel good about what I'm doing, and I want to make other people feel good as well. That's just off the top of my head.
Making people feel good in a pleasurable sense of, masturbation?
Yeah, sure. If that's one of the ways, then sure, why not?
I don't, I can't necessarily think of a lot of ways that are probably gonna be a good argument as far as why it's necessarily a positive thing. But I just don't view it as something that's negative in the right person's hand, I guess. Porn itself as a form of entertainment, I think the fact that it is just something that is out there that if you choose to watch it, you can, because you have the freedom to, is a positive thing.
I just had a question for you.
Yeah.
You said earlier that you can't necessarily think of any reasons right now as to why porn would be beneficial to society.
Yeah, but I also,
can.
yes, but
Does that concern you at all?
no, because I don't think it needs to be. I don't necessarily think video games, I can't think of a lot of ways that video games are positive other than it just being fun, mindless entertainment.
Right.
I think there's a place in a functioning society for mindless entertainment to just be okay in moderation. And I don't think it's selfish either to want pure entertainment sometimes.
All right, this has been really interesting, and I think we have more topics to get to. So why don't we get to the next topic?
Sounds good.
Masturbation has many health benefits. Agreeers, please step forward.
He actually does have that.
Let's see here.
Well, you know what? Since you were hesitant, I want to start with you.
I just want to say something okay, I don't even think about porn or masturbation anymore. But sometimes when you do get that idea, you know what I mean, and you ain't got no person to talk to, all of a sudden you start going crazy, what the f***? Ah, shit, I'm horny, you know what I mean? The blue balls be kicking in, you know what I mean, right? But the thing with me is, I refuse to still masturbate, even though it's hurting. So it gets to the point, sometimes I go crazy, so I gotta go meet somebody, oh shit, you know what I mean, right? So, but when I let that out, all of a sudden I come back to my normal sense. So I will say it helps that I ain't gotta deal with the pain of pelvic cramps and blue balls, I'll give you that much. And if I remember right, ain't you supposed to nut to avoid prostate cancer or something? Ain't you supposed to?
I'm not a
We're
doctor.
not the scientists.
I don't know.
Oh my wow. I mean, I feel there's nothing wrong with masturbation. I feel like masturbation is very healthy mentally and everything. It's nothing wrong with busting 10 nuts of the day and doing all the
I
other
feel like
things
that's
and stuff like
crazy.
that. It's good for your health and mentally, and and it relaxes your body. So I feel like masturbation is nothing wrong with that. I mean, even chronic masturbators. So yeah.
Quick question. I don't want to overtalk. Can you bust 10 nuts in a day?
I could bust multiple.
Hell yeah,
but
it's
I
a
know,
porn star.
Well, I know y'all got super
He's
We
trained
can
for
all bust 10 nuts in a day.
Man, I got 3 tops and I'm out of it, man. Go ahead, though, man. 10 is crazy, but go ahead.
You could say, the opposing side could say that maybe it's desensitizing you to real life sex, but for me personally, it's only given me more ideas and been an inspiration for, crazier times. So I think as long as you're doing it in, a healthy amount, whatever that is to you, should be okay.
I mean, as long as you could go to work. That's the only thing that matters. As long as you could go to work.
What if
that's
it is
good.
your work?
Yeah, but if
It's two birds, one stone.
Yeah, I would say the average person, the non-compulsive masturbator, for one, I don't think it's anyone's business what you do. And then two, I also think if you don't have a problem with it or you don't feel like you have a problem with it, it's not affecting your day-to-day life. I think it's completely natural. I think humans have been doing it forever.
I've always had a really healthy relationship to masturbation. So obviously I'm doing it more now, but before I was a porn star, I would maybe do it not even once a week. So when I'd feel that I guess urge or the horniness, I'd just go do it, and then if it's in the morning, I feel more energized somehow. And then if it's at night before I go to bed, I'm just like out like a light. I don't have to like take melatonin. And then another part of it for me has been kind of spiritual, because if you know about like the chakras, the sacral chakra is all about your sexuality and your creativity and your emotions. So
She'd be
using that kind of
exploding.
as like a manifestation technique. I was gonna say masturbation. But I've learned that like a woman harnessing her sexual energy and like using that is really powerful. And it just makes me feel like so creative, and I have so many ideas, and I feel so sexy.
But as porn stars, we want y'all to bust y'all nuts and stuff because that's how we get paid.
Fascinating. Let's bring in the disagreeers.
I mean, that's not what
I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much from
Tell
you.
me you're not a porn star.
Man, highlight of my day. All right, disagreeers. Thoughts?
What do you believe that you manifest when you masturbate? Like, what do you think? Do you think nothing, or like?
I think
it's
my life.
subconscious?
You can manifest money, you can manifest experiences. Just that like the creative energy within your sacral chakra. And if you don't know anything about spirituality, you're probably gonna look at me like I'm crazy. And it's completely separate, not completely separate from science. Like there are parts of manifestation that have to do with like scientific basis.
Yeah, well, I love the idea of chakras, and chakras are actually energy centers in your body that are aligned with where there's more nerve energy. But when you overstimulate a chakra, then they're no longer balanced, and that is an issue with overstimulating the sacral chakra, because then it takes away from all the others.
Okay.
And you know, going back to the idea of hypersexuality, then it accidentally, inadvertently puts you in a hypersexual place where, you know, then it feels empowering to you, but it might not necessarily be balanced.
Okay, but from my perspective, I'm not like doing it like it's like when I feel like that like energy starting to circulate in my body, like I'm gonna do something with it. I'm not like every day being like, I need to like hypersexualize myself. I need to do this. Like, I just feel like I have a very balanced relationship with my job and then like my own personal masturbation. So it's like hasn't like unbalanced my life. Like I
Do you feel like your job has taken away from sexuality with another person?
No, I've dated not plenty of men, like while I've been a porn star, but the times that I have, like I've really enjoyed the experiences with them.
Actually, I found that through shooting porn, it's enhanced my personal relationship with a significant other. But I come home to my person, you know, and so that's my person. So when you have sex with them, it's emotional, it's sensual, you love them. But when you're having sex on set, it's a job. You're acting. You're whatever. So
crazy work.
personally, for me, it's made the two separate. But I do know men who have a hard time in their sex life who do shoot porn, but because they're using their dick so much.
And I love that distinction, because what you're talking about is the artificiality of, your job at performance.
She's talking
Yeah.
crazy.
And then
Right.
you being able to experience that sensual experience with a partner. From my perspective, it's about the consumer that might not have that distinction, because when the dopamine's all linked to consuming pornography, then they're not able to, have that kind of that dichotomy that you're able to have.
I do think that there is a link between the morality and the health. So, I mean, I just don't, I think it's too simplistic to say that masturbation or masturbation to pornography specifically, sure, you get oxytocin, you get dopamine, you get serotonin. Okay, there's a ton of stuff that gives you those three chemicals, perhaps in higher doses, that are terrible for you. Things that anyone with sense would say, we probably shouldn't be doing that. So I think that just, having one facet of, all right, this is healthy because we get feel-good chemicals.
But I'm curious, because the prompt being what it was just objectively, masturbation is healthy. That was the
Yes.
prompt. So what, not like taking porn out of it, what makes masturbation unhealthy in your opinion?
Yeah, Logan, I love what you said, actually, is that, masturbation in and of itself, I don't know that it has health benefits, and that prostate cancer thing is the world's oldest excuse for people who have compulsive masturbation.
But is it true?
It don't.
No, actually, I've looked into the research, and people who compulsively masturbate have less healthy prostates as they age. So the big distinction is compulsive or not compulsive. But when pornography is in the mix, masturbation becomes compulsive because it's linked to all that dopamine again.
Like this is the way I see it, right? So you have a spiritual cup, you have a mental cup, and you have a physical cup.
And look, bro, we don't make that simple, okay? Don't look it up. We don't see if it's unhealthy right now. Yeah, there's literally like no negative side effects. Literally.
And I feel like it drained, or me masturbating would drain one of those. I couldn't distinct which one it would be, but I just realized like it would spill out the water in each of those cups into different areas of my life, and that would lead to negative things. So I guess like a question I would have for you is like, do you think that your industry serves people in a healthy way? Someone like you?
Yeah, I mean, no, and I feel that, and I think it's a person-to-person basis. I don't think my industry necessarily serves in any specific way. I don't think it's necessarily. It's a video. At the end of like we made a video, and then how you consume that product is however you got to deal with that.
And that's where the compulsive masturbation piece comes in, right? It does desensitize the brain, the dopamine receptors, and going back to that connection piece, it connects a person to themselves, right? Like to a screen in their hand.
Porn is inherently anti-feminist. Agreeers, please step forward.
Well, so, I mean, I'm assuming that we're using the definition that feminism is for equal rights for men and women. I think that it sort of has to be anti-feminist in a way, because if we're talking about feminism in the context of women as fully fleshed human beings that have inherent value, I think it does the exact opposite of that. I think that it diminishes, I mean, more specifically women, but I think everyone who's taking part in the pornography is diminished to nothing more than a sexual object, than essentially a warm body to masturbate with. Wow, the great success of feminism is that now I can sell my body to the highest bidder online.
Let's bring everybody else in. We can have a discussion about this. And I look forward to hearing what y'all think of as feminist in this context.
I would love to start.
Oh, go for it. Speak up. You don't have to wait to be called on.
So, as a woman, speaking about feminism, we're bringing up the definition of feminism and saying it was having equal rights. If anything, women have more rights than men in the porn industry, especially on like large sets. I get a person to follow me around all day, make sure I'm comfortable. I also, everything's always about the woman. I get paid twice as much as the man on the set. Yeah, so that's my personal opinion on it. I think if anything, it lifts women up and gives them a platform to have confidence.
I'll sound like equal pay.
Yeah, women dominate that whole entire industry. They make millions, more than the guys do. But the gay performers, they make money too. So, but women dominate the whole entire porn industry and make a killing.
You're assuming that me doing porn is only like having society view me as a sexual object, when in reality, I have a whole life outside of porn. Like, yes, it's a big part of my life, but I also, I make YouTube videos. I paint, I read, I do all of these different things. I go to the beach. I'm a whole person, but just the general concept of just seeing women as sexual objects just because they're on camera having sex, I think that's a big issue.
You obviously are a full, complete person outside of what you do in front of the camera for pornography. I obviously would agree with that across the board. So you're just a means to an end for these men who are desperate at home and want to get off. And they think that you're not a real, full human being. They just think that you're a body that's doing something attractive. And
not with OnlyFans these
You're
days.
assuming that everyone's having the same experience when they're masturbating to porn. So for me, not only with the Pornhub and all of the studios that I've shot for, all these men that are coming to me, I feel like I do pretty well with attracting people that are just so loving. They make me feel so seen and celebrated as a person. I just had my 3-year porniversary yesterday. So I made a post about that, obviously, and all these comments of I love you, I've loved getting to know you. And it's just been such an eye-opening experience seeing all these men who you might have that assumption that
they're donors, by the way. 100% they are donors, 100%. It's a whole bunch of simps and donors in the comment section. There's no justifiableness here, I promise you.
That they just masturbate to porn because they're just trying to come. But a lot of men I've come in contact with, they're widowed, they don't have a wife anymore.
This is a huge one.
It's just a lot of different scenarios. So yeah, I just don't like making that big assumption about men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, I think, from the science, because my perspective is informed by not only neuroscience, but I work with thousands of men who have recovered or are in the process of recovering from porn, is that intimacy that they feel towards you isn't true intimacy. So, like when a widower reaches out to you and now is building a false intimacy or distorted intimacy, then, you know, like Asher was saying, then he's not going back into the world to meet a real human being that he could make the connection with. And what I think about, like in terms of, you know, the porn industry and feminism, it's more like the authenticity and healthy purpose, and, you know, really going out there and doing the thing that, you know, is in your heart that you want to add to the world.
Is it possible, just a follow-up question, is it possible for that there to be a bridge where it is okay? Where, like, say with the widower example, where is it always bad?
I think so, based on the science too, because science shows that basically then those neural pathways are being fired up towards the high level of dopamine from pornography, which makes it almost impossible for most people, and this is the compulsive addictive nature, for those pleasure pathways to be linked to real world experiences. That's what all the neuroscience shows, is that these pathways in the brain are just being traversed back towards porn. Very difficult to, you know, then build pleasure in real life.
She get into the science of it all.
I know.
But going back to like the anti-feminist thing, because you are right in the fact that, like, obviously there are there's guys online are very mean to a lot of the girls in the industry, but I don't think that how people perceive you doing a thing makes that thing anti-feminist, because like they said, obviously a lot of guys like really support them and like feel like they know them on a personal level, but then yeah, there's people who like, and especially if a lot of these girls, if they go and do something after porn, there's plenty of people who are just gonna be like, oh, she's always just gonna be a porn star. So like, but I don't think that makes it inherently anti-feminist. I think that's more of just an issue on these guys and just how they're viewing women.
No, I definitely believe that it can empower women.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, like you have fans that appreciate you and what you do, but that's like a whole different side. What he was mentioning is that there's men that do view women as an object as a result of watching porn. So it's just like, how do we direct like which way to go? Because like for me, I've viewed women as an object for a little bit of my life because that's what my idea was from watching porn, and that's pretty much all I knew. I didn't have like a natural relationship. It was all artificial. So I guess what I'm asking is how can we, empower women in a different way, and and link it back to like men appreciating women. Like,
well, what if women don't mind being appreciated for their sexual side? That's something I don't mind. Well, for those men that come in and view me as an object, I view them as a paycheck.
I see.
So
That's a bar.
I don't mind, and then the people who come in and do value me, I also value them too, and I also ask them about how their life is going on, and a lot. To be honest, to bring up something, I'm not sure if I'm going to have a chance to bring it up. I have a lot of like functioning autistic people and stuff like that on my page who are just way too scared to get out there in public. They're hardly functioning on their own, and this is something that they can finally get their first like sexual experience with a woman.
I feel like that's terrible though. Like I don't feel like that's good. Like their first experience as a porn star, dog. Like that's not like when you have autism on top of that. Like that's not good, bro. Like we're already exposed as like youngins, whatever. Young teens, whatever you want to call it, to porn and shit. But you think it's good to expose it to people with autism as well who have, something up here going on compared to like someone that doesn't, and it already affects them. That's just interesting to me. I don't know. I think that's kind of dumb, personally, but I don't know.
And I talk to them. It's a beneficial relationship. And I guess it just depends on how you perceive that, if it's negative or positive. For me, I perceive it as a positive thing for them.
My work has always surrounded people on the autistic spectrum too. If they're, basically connecting themselves to you neurobiologically with dopamine, then it would be even more difficult for them to create those real world connections.
What is the right way to go about that then?
It's about what you feel is right or not, and we don't
Backing
feel
up
that
my-
way.
Well, it's not opinions that I'm talking about. These are scientific facts that
Well, you're
are
saying what is
documented.
negative? You're saying it's negative for an autistic man to have a relationship with a woman online.
A
We
porn
don't see
star
it that
online.
way.
What I want for people is
Who cares?
they can connect with real human beings and
Yeah.
have a back and forth of intimacy in the real world.
Yeah, I would love that for them.
Yeah, no, and
I'd
I
love
totally
that.
agree with that. But I'm just curious as far as like with that, at what point does it fall on the responsibility of the sex worker itself? There are plenty of people who don't feel like they can make connections in real life and they turn to that. And I agree. Like, I would always advise.
Okay, you're the one. Pause. You're the one talking to them. You're the one responsible, big homie. Like, let's be real here. You're the one talking to them, so you're responsible. That's if you're doing what old girl is doing. That's if you're doing that. If you're not doing that, you're just communicating with people like, subscribe to my whatever, blah blah blah, simple shit. But you're sending out personal messages to people, or like specifically talking to them. Not even personal messages. You're like specifically talking to people. Running the funds, whatever. You are responsible for that, bro. That's you, bro. That's you. You're the one doing it back and forth. That's you. Like,
Advise
don't try
anyone to go out
change
and
it.
make real connections. But if they are choosing not to, is that the responsibility
it's a
of
choice.
us?
Well, this is what I know from the
That
people
part,
that I
no.
work with is that, they've gone that route for a very long time
Mm-hmm.
and it's led them to depression and it's led them to extreme anxiety because they are trying to fill a gaping hole in an artificial way. They eventually feel empty and they don't want to have that artificial experience anymore. They want it in real life.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think part of the question was, is the onus on the sex worker? Is there blame to be had on the part of the sex worker?
Oh, no, not at all. But I don't know that, enjoying taking a person away from real world connection, like you're proposing that it's a good thing that you're there for those people. Where I would contend if you weren't doing that, then they would have to, like Asher said, they'd have to get back into their life. And even though it's difficult, they would, they want it. They really want that connection. So they would start doing that instead of watching porn.
Man.
I always encourage my fans to live their lives and go out there. And a lot of men come to me with confidence issues. They're like, I just had someone last week saying like, give me your top 3 tips on confidence. And whatever came to me, I typed it out and I was like, you do with that as you wish. And I know it's not my responsibility to like be their therapist because I'm not. Yeah, there's a lot
That's
of
where the dopamine
loneliness.
dependency comes in because they are
Exactly.
linked to you.
I'm saying, like she doesn't hear what she's saying. Like, you're literally like, and it's so it's not even frustrating. It's not that deep. But it's just like, you're not hearing what you're saying. It's like it's not manipulation, but you're feeding these people. It's like feeding a stray cat outside and someone keep coming back. Like, he's like, oh, I need tips. Like, why do you ask? Like, you're a porn star, bro. He don't need tips from you, bro. He don't need that. Come on. That's not what he need, bro. Like, come on, bro. He didn't need help. That's what he need, bro. He stop pulling out his little willy, bro. Like, come on.
Partners have sex with each other. Neurobiologically, they become linked through dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. So that's happening in an artificial way. So then they come to you for advice where if they weren't consuming porn, they would go to their friends or their parents or their siblings or someone, at Starbucks that they connected with.
When the addiction is like so detrimental to your life that it's no longer serving you or giving you what you want, then to me, that's a problem. So like, for example, if you want a partner, right? And you keep going to the porn and as soon as you rub it out and get that post-nut clarity, you're like, man, girls. You know what I mean, right? Like if you get to that point, that's a problem. You know what I mean, right? Because that's not what you want. But at the same time, if it's just like, you know what, I just want to feel good for a little bit. And afterwards, you're like, man, they still human beings. Like, I'm having a great day. I don't see a problem
Yeah,
with
but
that.
that's instant gratification. I actually liken pornography addiction to an eating disorder more than gambling. And it's like, if you have an eating disorder to chocolate cake with blue dye and red dye on the frosting, with all those jimmies in there that are scientifically proven to be terrible for you because of the chemicals, like the baker's not at fault. The baker loves baking, so I understand that, but the consumer has to go, do I want to eat this cake with the dyes?
And I want to respond to that too because I have a nasty little sweet tooth addiction, right? Like I used to love cake.
It's dopamine.
Danishes, all that stuff. But I realized I felt like shit when I was eating all that. So what I do to satisfy my shit, I started just eating fruit. and the fruit was good. So instead of me just getting the nuts from like porn or whatnot, which, you know, if that's what you want, I just want a real woman.
Let's move on to the next topic, shall we?
Let's do it.
Post-nut clarity I'm going to be borrowing.
Oh, I know. And
As soon as you rub it out, oh shit, what am I doing?
I've suffered from porn addiction. Will the agreeers please step forward?
My porn addiction started when I was around like my teen years, my younger teen years, 13 years old. It started from just playing Geometry Dash or just a little game on my iPad. There was an ad that popped up, and it was an ad to like an adult website. And leading into my my young or older teens and 20s, that's where I started suffering from addiction. Just doing it every day, just stuck in this loop of not understanding why I'm not, you know, completing the things that I need to complete, and not like excelling the way that I saw myself that I needed to excel. And so started having bad relationships with my friends, my family, gone to drugs, gone into excessive alcohol consumption. And so I recognized a pattern, and I was like, I need to get out of this loop. And so I think that thing for me was to stop watching pornography. And ever since that day, man, it's made a huge change in my life. So.
Do you consider yourself in recovery today, or how would you describe where you are now?
Definitely. So I'm over a year away from fapping as a whole, and now I'm on the journey of helping other men discover, you know, what the reason is for them watching porn or fapping in the first place, and, you know, maybe showing them an alternative way to release their energy.
I was also exposed to it pretty young, probably 12, 13. And since then, it was pretty much the primary source of sexual education that I had. I assumed that porn was the way that sex happened in real life. And, you know, it thankfully never got to the point where I was, you know, outwardly, you know, abusive or anything to anybody else, but certainly changed my life for the worse. And, you know, ever since I decided to stop doing it, pretty much everything's just been uphill.
So how would you describe where you are today?
Well, I did have somewhat of a reversion back to my religion, to Catholicism. So right now I'd say I'm, again, probably on the road to recovery. It's been quite a while since I've had to, you know, fall back into it, but feeling and looking good right now. So.
Cool. Well, let's bring in the disagreeers, and maybe we can have a larger discussion. You can step on forward.
I actually used to be a background porn actor. So like
background porn actor?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the difference between regular and background?
So the regular folks is but like, but I wasn't I was just the actor in the scenes. The first scene I ever did was with Kendall Woods and Jake Adams. So it was like be more like your stepsister scene. And I was just one of the friends of the stepbrother who ended up his sister in, like in the scene. Oh, wow. But I've done like 18 different porn scenes. Yeah. And then afterwards, after that, like I could just never watch like professional porn again. I watched the scenes I'm in. But you know what I mean? Like I watched that, like, damn, I did some good acting today, you know what I mean? But, so I don't have a problem with porn per se, but I do think it depends on your goal.
So, funny story, when I was growing up, well, obviously you stumble upon porn. I started watching it, and I had this like deep shame about it. In like high school, college, I had serious relationships for like years, and I never like caught any of them watching porn, but just the thought of them watching it got me so like jealous and insecure. I've really worked through my own issues of feeling insecure about it, and got into the business myself. So like any argument really, I just feel like there's like so much middle ground because we're on middle ground. So that's my little backstory.
There it is. I'd love to hear from you guys, but feel free to, it's a conversation.
I do feel like it's kind of unfortunate that like porn addiction doesn't really get taken that seriously for some reason. And I think you can't necessarily compare it to drug addiction, but I think you have to look at it sort of like a gambling addiction and things like that, which I had gambling addiction in the past too, and it's a lot of that mental, you know what I mean? And I've seen how it can, you know, really mess people like that compulsion with it, and it messes up their personal sex lives and stuff. So I do sympathize with that, and yeah, I do think it needs to be a discussion more about the serious of the addiction aspect of it.
What I found in the neuroscience research is that young people, kids, find porn, and then the seeds of addiction are planted then, so nobody identifies with the idea of addiction, and you even mentioned compulsion. So, you know, use kind of transitions to abuse and then compulsion, and then addiction shows up later on, and usually, you know, when it's pretty late for a person by the time they identify this is a full-blown addiction.
Yeah, truthfully, I feel like more people probably have a problem with it than they even realize or like admit to it. Because even like a lot of like on the fan platforms and stuff, like the people that we talk to, like the fans and stuff, some of them are like, brother, you probably gotta relax a little bit. But like, and it's nothing against. I love my job. I love this industry in so many ways. But I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that like some people probably shouldn't be consuming this because it's just not. It doesn't work for their brain. For
Yeah,
whatever
and
reason.
you're totally right. It's a dopamine dependency
Yeah.
that's linked to sexuality. So the context of gambling is very much the same in terms of the neurobiological mechanism. So you're spot on with that it's the dopamine they're addicted to from sex. You know, someone would have enjoyed sexuality, healthier sexuality, which has its own definitions with a partner, instead of fetishes and things that are very high dopamine producing.
So let me say something. At first, I said it depends on your goal, right? So, like, for example, I don't want to watch porn because when I used to rub it out, I used to feel like, damn, like, I'd rather be with a real person right now, you know what I mean? So it was fucking with my confidence, my ego, and all that. But by going no fat for literally a whole year, I still got needs. So I was forced to go out there and go meet people, and I was meeting women. You know what I mean? So it was real experiences versus just a computer screen. So it really depends on your goal.
All right, let's move on to the next topic, guys. NoFap leads to more loyalty in relationships. Agreeers, please step forward. I'm hearing a lot of chuckles. This is fun.
I feel like the loyalty, mainly it remained in like my relationships with other people, not just my friends, but just like my partners that I had previously. I definitely felt like it's like kind of like cheating, right? You get with a person, or at least I did, you know, to gain a connection, pleasure and knowledge, wisdom, whatnot, right?
I would say it's really not cheating. It depends on what you're watching it for. Like, if you're watching it specifically for, like, I don't know, to look at other women, then yeah. But if you're just, like, watching it to beat off, like, I don't know, it's a different mindset as a dooner, man. You gotta have the mindset of one to understand, bro. I used to doon, bro. I used to bust some nuts. I get it, like, you know what I mean? I understand. But, bro, it's like, I don't think it's all terrible, but, you know, I stopped. Like, you know what I mean? I'm chilling. I feel like I'm better for it. You know what I'm saying?
Once you find it elsewhere or know that you can get it from yourself, would you even need the other person? And so I guess that would disrupt the loyalty in the sense of, like, you don't really need anyone else. You don't need that connection. So why do you have to be loyal to someone else?
I am of the opinion, and I'm assuming he would be too, is that any amount of pornography is by definition a breach in loyalty of a committed romantic relationship between two people, because essentially what you're doing is you are replacing the person that you are with for good reasons and replacing them with essentially just a distorted image of a sexual object in order to satisfy yourself instead of fully loving them.
Got it.
There's a reason I believe that love is associated with loyalty, or loyalty is associated with love, not lust. And I feel like a lot of the porn industry is lust-based more than love. So, like I said, like, therefore, it would be more loyalty and love together.
Got it.
So
Let's bring the
I'm curious
disagreeers in, because I feel some rumbling of disagreement, and I would really like to. And
I could hear it. I could hear it.
Yeah, and I encourage you guys to feel free to interrogate each other's positions, because we're here to learn. We're here to expand our own thoughts. So.
I'm both, to be honest.
Oh, fascinating.
Can
Tell
I
us
be?
more.
Can I be?
Wow. Yeah.
I think it could help a relationship for sure. Maybe, you know, it would help to focus on that one person. But I also think that it can also help a relationship in the opposite way of things, where it could, maybe I'm busy and I can't provide that to my partner and I don't want them to look elsewhere.
Yep.
So feel free to use online, you know, if you want to have that little sexual experience for that time, you know, that's fine with me personally. So I think it's, you know, I think it's a give and a take. It can be either one depending on your relationship.
I think in a lot of ways it varies relationship to relationship. A lot of partners aren't going to care if their partner watches porn sometimes, and it doesn't make them a worse partner. It doesn't mean that they won't satisfy their partner in other ways or like really fully commit to them. But I also think that there is a big aspect to it, of like, if you're constantly seeking that pleasure elsewhere instead of your partner, then obviously there's a problem with that. But I think it's just way too complicated of an issue to like boil it down to just like, oh, this makes you a more loyal partner than.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Just find somebody that match your kink. That's all I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's somebody that match your
Going
kink.
along
That's it to it.
I agree with you in that there's a measure called emotional intelligence. So emotionally intelligent or emotionally mature people want loyalty in a partner. And love comes in 3 phases, going back to what you were saying. There's lust, romantic love, and bonded love. And I've been married for 23 years. So 23 years later in marriage, you have bonded love because, you know, the crap's hit the fan lots of times. You don't stay together just for a great sex life, you know. You stay together because you've weathered the storm together. So, like, emotionally intelligent people want that loyalty in a partner. It's kind of like, you know, 2 alcoholics. 2 alcoholics can have a blast drinking, but that doesn't make them 2 healthy people.
Interesting. I hear some
Some rumblings.
So, so me being with a partner and like us watching porn together, like that, you compare that to us being 2 alcoholics.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Just
I
because we
just
want to
disagree
spice
with
it up
that.
a little, we just want to watch other
Yeah, because
people have sex.
it's still objectification. Like, if you're watching other people have sex, you are no longer having a sexual experience in and of itself. Like, it takes you out of the present and it puts you into fantasy. Fantasy is hypersexualized, which means in your experience with your partner, you're looking for level 15 dopamine instead of the happiness trifecta. And so a lot of people are doing that, and they're trying to get, you know, maximum pleasure out of a sexual experience with their partner, but that means you don't get to enjoy that rounded out experience.
Some things can just be for fun, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it makes it less intimate. If a couple is watching porn together, I don't think that makes their regular sex life less intimate if they just want to spice things up one night, have fun. It's the same, like, sometimes couples who have never done bondage before, they might do it one night, and then, like, that's like I'm sure that's a lot of dopamine, like a huge rush on that particular night because it's trying something new. But it doesn't mean that now they can't have regular sex experiences with their partner. I don't see why.
You know,
that's
it's like, you know, like having a French meal. Like, you're having this really rounded, beautiful meal, but then you've got a huge piece of chocolate cake over here.
If a couple is watching porn together, chooses to watch porn together sometimes, that's always unhealthy.
I think so, based on, you know, the scientific studies. It means you're going for this rush from the, you know, think about a natural experience doesn't include a screen with other people. That makes it an unnatural experience. So generally speaking, things that are healthy for us are the natural things that exist in our present real world life. Then, you know, when you use porn, you're trying to ramp that experience up on steroids. And, you know, a lot of the people I work with, when they stop doing that, they have such fulfillment with their partner.
Are you saying that say I got married, am I not allowed to think anyone else is attractive other than my partner? Is that cheating?
No. I mean, obviously, like, you know, if you see someone attractive, you think they're attractive, but that's different than lusting. Like, lusting, you know, I work with a lot of people who are attempting to find other people attractive instead of lusting after every person who walks by them on the street. And again, it goes back to dopamine. So, like, maybe you don't have it, because again, I don't know what your brain is doing. If you see a person, they're attractive, it just registers on the nervous system like this, like a tap. But for people with lusting, that person walks by and they're thinking, the dopamine's flowing in their brain, they cannot stop thinking about that person. It's lust, hypersexuality.
I personally think, like, my partner should be allowed to, like, if they're feeling like they need to masturbate, go do it. If you need to watch porn and do that, I'm not, like I said, when I was younger, like a teenager, I was really insecure, and I couldn't handle the fact that, like, any of my partners thought that someone else was attractive, because I had, like, really deep-seated issues, and I worked through those.
I am curious too, as far as like maybe the other side of that, as well as maybe sheltering yourself off too much in a relationship. Could that not cause, I guess, this over curiosity that causes you to end up just sort of breaking and being unloyal?
Yeah, like hyposexuality, do you mean?
Yeah, like I think like I feel like there's also an argument to be made that kind of like sheltering yourself out from like not masturbating and only like looking at this, like, or not looking at this partner, but like not masturbating at all, not having any other release other than with a partner, that can sort of like your curiosity as far as like, okay, what is life without this partner be like, and then it could drive you to cheat maybe.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you use the word release, as does Asher here, a lot, by the way. So the idea of, you know, a release is a hypersexual thought in and of itself. Like, you have to, you know, again, one of my mentors said nobody ever died from not masturbating. You know,
of course,
so.
but I'm saying, but it still happens. It's how people think. It's how it happens. So if you're completely shutting yourself off from personal self-pleasure, could that not happen as far as just like
Definitely. And when it comes to NoFap, and I told Ryan this when we started, I don't know if I really like anchor into the idea of NoFap, because I really anchor into the idea of healthy sexuality. And when you think of like, they call it monk mode, where people just go no sexuality. So I joke with people all the time, I'm going to tell you the scariest thing in the whole world. Communicate with your partner. What you like and what you find exciting, and then do all of those things. And some women are hyposexual, some men are hyposexual. It's about figuring it out, and so I think closing yourself off definitely isn't the way to do it either.
I love sex. Agreeers, please step forward.
Damn, everybody better be up there.
I would say yes, of course. I love sex in the sense that it is the natural procreative action that brings together two people in a love so intense that it actually forms another human being if everything goes to plan.
That's why I stepped forward.
Yeah, I was about to say, what brought you in?
Yeah, just like, that's the true intimacy, that's the true love. Like, that's what I believe sex was designed for, was to, have partners show love to each other and bring another human being into this world.
Other thoughts? You love sex.
I love sex. Sex is awesome. Sex is awesome.
Yep.
Sex rocks. Now, I obviously I'm in this industry, but I've had a girlfriend for 4 years as well. She's also in the industry, so I have obviously I've had plenty of meaningless sex, and I've had plenty of sex, and I will choose sex with my partner over.
No, what? So he has a girlfriend in the industry. He in the industry. She in the industry. So y'all just fucking around, like, and then y'all just call each other boyfriend, girlfriend. All right.
Anything, always.
Like, just like with love, there's so many different kinds of love.
Right.
There's a lot of different kinds of sex you can have, and I think they're all fun. And even like back in the day, like there were like, I'm going into like the spirituality stuff, but there'd be groups of women that would have sex with each other, like sisterhoods. And like that wasn't for procreation. So.
I want to be in part of that.
Gotta start reading some books.
Sorry, I love everything about sex. Porn, filming porn, everything. How the way I feel when I'm having sex, how the way I'm being touched with having sex, the intimacy, the touch, the feel, everything.
Yeah,
I just love it. Yeah.
So like your brain will literally attune to your partners, and attachment theory, you become attached to your partner, and we know evolutionarily, like going back to the evolution piece, that this is what made people stick together and then create tribes for safety and procreation, so that it's pleasurable too. And I've had 5 children, so it has to be pleasurable, or you would literally never do it again, and there'd be nobody here on Earth, So it's important.
And it is. You're in sort of the most vulnerable state you can be with another person, and it's just everything going through your mind, and just the way it's making your body feel, and it's you build so much trust in a short amount of time just off of that vulnerability of being in that environment with that person.
I love that. Do you feel that on set too?
I do.
You do?
Actually. Yeah, I do.
I don't.
I have.
I
in a lot of
personally don't
different
feel
ways. As far as attachment, things like that, I really only feel that with my partner, with my girlfriend. But as far as the trust and things like that, especially on set, and I guess it's a little different because we're performing, so we do have to have that trust. As far as I will respect what you want me to do, what you don't want me to do. I won't hurt you. We won't hurt each other. We will make a good scene. We're here to do a job, and that's it. And I'm not going to be.
It's a strong working relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
So
like any.
So it is different in that way. I don't feel like genuine connections as far as like on a deeper level, I guess.
I usually can't even get off for the person on set. It's an acting job for me when it comes to my pro scenes. When it comes to my personal side, that's a different, that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's completely different for me.
Let's get our lone disagreeer here. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
You've been waiting to talk.
Don't get me wrong, like, I enjoy sex, right? But when I hear, like, I love sex, it's not so much the sex I love, it's more so the connection. So, like, even when, like, porn got room for me, it's like when I realized how fake it was or how professional it is, it's like, damn, I used to think it was real.
Yeah.
So I was looking for women like that, you know what I mean, right? But it's just like, girls ain't like this for real, for real. I broke up with my ex 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And so when she finally moved out the house, like, I just wanted to feel something. So I just went on this little like whole phase. Because I remember in December, there was this one girl, well, we was having sex. Like, I remember like just mid-stroke, I was like, damn, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I just felt bad, and there was no real connection. And then after that, like I stopped my little hoe phase and was like looking for the real thing.
Taking into consideration the whole conversation we've had today, let's see if we can find a middle ground, something everybody can agree on. Feel free to pitch something.
I think everyone needs therapy.
I personally think maybe like you have to find whether or not something is abusive or not for yourself, if that makes sense. Like if you're compulsive, finding that issues, I guess, finding out what you're missing in yourself that's making you so dependent on something else is the biggest thing.
It's not as easy as to just make it like this black and white thing. It's just, okay, one side bad, one side good, one side healthy, one side unhealthy. I think it really is a case-by-case basis. And if there is any sense of like reliance or preferment over online things versus regular connections, obviously that's a bad thing. But I don't think it's as simple to just be like, okay, it's bad because some people have a problem with it.
I believe the middle ground is that it's on the consumer and not the the person that's putting it out. So it's really up to us to really learn, like, is it for us? Like, is that what the ideal lifestyle that I want to have? Like, does that fit in it?
I don't know if I agree with that one, to be honest, because, like I said, it's kids, and you all said you found porn when you were young, and so, brains aren't developed then, so you're asking a 10-year-old to be able to decide what they can consume or not, and
I see.
Is a 10-year-old?
Yeah, and I hear that too.
But I don't think kids should watch porn at all.
No.
But that is generally who finds porn. And we know that young people are the #1 consumers of porn.
I meant like people over the age of 18. Like that's what I meant to say, not like children, because there's definitely a big issue there. I guess we can also agree on that as well. It's like it's too accessible to people on screens, and that it even gets out to children. I think that we need to solve a problem towards that.
100%.
Totally.
100%.
I love that. That's great.
So one of the things we all agree on is that kids shouldn't be watching porn.
Yeah, be 18 and above.
Yeah,
please.
and that's something like porn people get blamed for a lot. They're like, oh, the kids. It's like, dude, like kids don't have credit cards.
Like the children.
You heard how it happened though. Like Buddy was playing a game when he was younger, as a teenager, and it had an ad for sex, bro. That's how they got us back then, bro. Cause I think I remember that's how I got caught too, bro. Like that shit, like it's through ads, like on games. Like they targeting children on purpose, bro. They knew what they were doing, bro. Not them, not the porn stars. Obviously, they're just the employees, basically. But the niggas behind the industry, bro. Like
We don't want that.
Children, what about the children?
It serves no benefits to us at all. Like,
on the parents.
Yeah, on this side, anything else y'all want to throw out there that maybe everybody can agree on?
For me, my middle ground is do whatever works for you. That's it.
I like it.
Do whatever works for you.
I was just going to list off some things that I think we all agree on.
okay.
Which is
Go for it.
porn addiction is bad.
Yep.
Yes.
Replacing your partner with pornography is bad. Sex is a beautiful thing. We can all, I think, agree on that. I think, at least for me, those are the 3 things that resonate the most.
Any disagreement?
No.
Sounds like we found a middle ground. Yeah. Congratulations, you guys. Yeah. We can fist bump. Fist bump. We can.
Alright, does porn have a negative effect on society? No fat versus porn stars. Y'all should let me know in my comment section on YouTube. If you're in chat, if you feel like let me know, you should let me know. I personally do not think it has a negative effect on society. I feel like it has an influence on society. I feel like each individual person has to decide their positives and negatives. Like, you can't just roll everybody. Just like how I just discovered that it's pretty apparently common. People are pretty nuts over fapping in general. So they have their own mental issues they need to take care of with that.